Good evening, everyone. My name is Eljay, and I am a controversiaholic. And from that very sentence, I'm gonna get in trouble with someone somehow. So without further ado, let's go over the top 10 BIONICLE Controversies. Our list begins with number 10, the appearance of BIONICLE in the LEGO Movie. Before the film's release, rumor had been circulating regarding BIONICLE showing up in some capacity in LEGO's big screen hit. Those who had seen the movie claimed that it was there, and it was the 2001 Toamata shown, and so folks flipped out with excitement. Cue the large group of people that were severely disappointed by its appearance. The controversy is twofold, as people were angered by the context of the appearance due to the character Wild Style discussing various other worlds, some of which she, quote, didn't need to mention. If that didn't ruffle some feathers, then the fact that the image appeared for under a second did. Many believe this small reference to be disrespectful to the theme that had done a lot in regards to keeping the company out of financial oblivion. Counters to this say the film didn't have the time to explain BIONICLE, especially since it had included so many other themes already, not to mention that BIONICLE frankly didn't fit in to begin with. These people are still waiting on the LEGO Movie 2, the BIONICLE documentary. Next up at number 9 are the online serials. Fan backlash is incredibly common, and most of the time when you ask people what went wrong with the first generation of BIONICLE, the most common response you'll get will be the serials. Many fans feel that the online serials negatively affected the story of Gen 1, making it overly complicated and needlessly layered. They are oftentimes referred to when debating how difficult it is to get into Gen 1, due to how they may or may not affect the story. Other criticisms contend that they were simply useless and a waste of time, which could have been spent focusing on character development or fleshing out the world. This all came to a head with the release of the final serials after BIONICLE was cancelled, since they never even finished, leaving several story arcs open and unfinished. To this day, they remain a source of controversy amongst fans of Gen 1. At number 8, we have the Great Spirit Robot. While the reveal is often regarded as one of the best BIONICLE had to offer, many are incredibly displeased with the Great Spirit Robot's concept due to its size. Somewhat recently, Christian Faber released concept art of the Great Spirit Robot that compared its size to the country of Denmark. The length, aka height, that was beside it put its overall height at 3,150 kilometers, or about 10 million feet. In the final story, however, the Great Spirit Robot is roughly 12,000 kilometers, or approximately 40 million feet. So when it and Matanui's prototype robot started duking it out on Bar Magna, this meant the planet had to be huge. People have greatly criticized Greg for making the robot so large, claiming it's unnecessary and flat out stupid at times. At this point in time, I don't even have a source that states it was Greg Farshdi's idea, so it may be a case of the blame game being played on him. Regardless, many were quite displeased with the arbitrary numbers, and it stirred quite a bit of controversy. Great, I have to discuss this. Coming in at number 7 is the 2006 marketing. Many fans felt that 2006 was the start of a new age for BIONICLE. In a way, it kind of was. 2006 brought a darker theme with it. There was lightning, chain link fences, heroes with rubber masks adorned with teeth and spikes, villains with large, flexible spines and glowing red eyes, and the fans ate it up. 2006 is still regarded as one of the best years of BIONICLE, except for the marketing. For that, we were given crap. The Paraka were heavily referred to as the gang, as if being part of a gang was suddenly cool. Their name was graffitied on walls that were soon blown up. And for the Unica, well, move along, gangs. It's time for alt-rock to make its appearance! And it sure did. Granted, we sure as heck rocked out to it, but along with the oddly dark chain-link fences and the constant rain, we weren't really sure what was going on. 2006's marketing has always been a source of controversy for being really weird and not well liked after the fact. Even Greg Farshdi disliked the Paraka's gang image. Now then, back to fighting Rabbit 06 fans. At number 6, we argue about Greg Farshdi's canonization efforts. A lot of the time, it wasn't even Greg's fault, but the fans' fault. After BIONICLE ended and the serials had little to no hope of being finished, Greg Farshdi was allowed by LEGO to answer questions on the LEGO message boards. This brought upon a slew of fan questions and requests. Because the story wasn't continuing, and members were still hoping to keep the theme alive, they would ask Greg if certain things made sense and could become official canon. This brought on a large effort by fans to fill out every uncertain detail about the Bionicle universe. Any unanswered question was suddenly fair game. Polls were started, questions were asked, and wiki articles were edited. Controversy rose during all of this, with many fans claiming Greg should stop. Others acknowledged it was the fans that needed to stop. Either way, it was a mess, as many older fans simply wished for those mysteries to remain just that. When you found out what you're looking for, then what? Looking for water at number 5 is the entire year of 2009. Where do I begin? For starters, a group of individuals hated 2009 for being a reboot of the theme and taking us away from the Matoran universe we had spent our childhoods with. Then, people were angry about the desert theme. But it all came to a head when LEGO decided against sticking to its guns and making it a soft reboot by bringing in Matanui. This is where the scareback beetles hit the fan. Those who had grown accustomed to 2009 were in arms that it lasted for such a short time. We already knew so little about Bar Magna, and now we may never get the chance to learn more. Matanui's character was also basic, the Glatorian's character were basic, and the terrain was basic, and so on and so forth. To make matters worse, the movie for that year, The Legend Reborn, was generally disliked amongst fans for not keeping the style of the prior 3 films and for being more childish. All in all, 2009 did not strike a good chord with fans of the series, and the debate still rages on as to whether or not it is merely an underrated year. Here at number 4 is the Red Star's function. I won't take long here, as you likely know the story. Death in any piece of literature or engaging media is the end-all be-all for characters. Death in Bionicle had a heavy impact, especially considering the heroic characters that gave their lives for everyone else. So when a mechanism was put in place in one of the serials that took the fear of death away, the fans nearly lost it. It didn't help that said device was also one we knew and loved from all the way back in 2001. The Red Star became a machine that revived the dead. Kind of. Just the prospect of it existing threw fans into a rage and brought Greg's approval rating to all new lows. Despite claims that it was planned from the start, fans continued to blame him and get angrier that things were the way they had become. Oh, at number 3 is love, or the lack thereof. Love in Bionicle has always been a sore spot for many Bionicle fans. The funny thing is, it's because they lacked it in Bionicle. Hints of Bionicle characters loving each other are present early in the theme's existence, in Minogue and the Borak animations. However, after that, it's been constantly regarded as non-canon, as Matoran universe inhabitants simply had no reason to love one another. Many lied on their laurels and blamed the Greg for decanonizing it, while others claimed he had nothing to do with it, and it wasn't canon to begin with. LEGO tried to rectify this by allowing Glatorian and Agori the ability to love, but it wasn't enough for fans as they simply didn't care. For them, it had to be the Matoran universe, or bust. Running up at number 2, we have the ending of Bionicle. The backstory here makes this somewhat amusing. Bionicle got cancelled somewhere during 2009, and after they wrapped it up, there wasn't any plan to do anything else. Rumor has it that some company members campaigned for LEGO to allow one last hurrah and give the theme that had done so much and amassed such a following a proper ending. And so, they did. Unfortunately, fans did not respond kindly. For the sets, we were given 6 measly Agoran/Avmatoran builds with brittle joints, what many consider to be a deus ex machina in the way of Makuta's defeat, and the Toanuva being split up for the entire final battle. The handling of that ending was, in many's eyes, incredibly poor. The sets were regarded as an insult to the theme and the fans, and the ending is still regarded as a huge letdown. Bionicle did get an ending, but in this case, with a whimper instead of a bang. And finally, at our number 1 spot is the gender element ratio. This has always been a source of controversy in the Bionicle fanbase. Throughout our stay in the Matoran universe, one rule has always been quite clear. All Gamatoran are female. Every other element is not. This generally meant that any team would have a 5-to-1 ratio of male characters to female characters. This also meant it was quite difficult for fans to feel comfortable making their Toa Fire creation a female character. Throughout the years, other female elements had been added, but the problem for fans was still there. Everything was still fixed. The reason for this is fairly simple, seeing as Bionicle is a theme aimed toward young boys. As such, the majority of characters are male. No. Disclaimer, that's just the explanation. This has always been the largest point of controversy with the Bionicle line, to the degree that with 2015, LEGO has dropped that concept entirely. And thanks to the help of Bionicle and Star Wars author Ryder Winham, we now have a female character that doesn't wear blue armor. But those are just our thoughts. What are yours? Post your own top 10 Bionicle controversies in the comments below, and feel free to continue the discussion on the TTV message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. I'm Eljay, and thanks for watching.